What is up guys, it's Jimbo here and welcome back to another video. I am an avid Star Wars fan. I've covered a variety of Star Wars games on the channel, so you can imagine my excitement in 2021 when the announcement of the best Star Wars RPG ever made, Knights of the Old Republic, was getting a remake. I was mind blown. Since then, the game has died and come back more times than Emperor Palpatine, and I wanted to talk about what the hell is actually going on with the game. Get you up to date with the latest stories, because a lot of us has unfolded this week. It is important to firstly talk about the importance of KOTOR. It was released in 2003 for the original Xbox, it got multiple Game of the Year awards, and was developed by BioWare. Yes, that BioWare. A Star Wars RPG with great storytelling, RPG mechanics that to this day are still really good, and it paved the way for so many other RPGs, including my favourite sci-fi trilogy ever, Mass Effect. It has been remastered and upscaled a couple of times for the Xbox 360 and also the Xbox One, but this remake was supposed to be the next step, a full-blown remake of the game, and that was what everyone is most excited about. Jumping to present day, these last few days have been a whirlwind, as on Monday it was looking like the game was dead in the water, thanks to a known industry insider, Jeff Grubb, who reported, "I just wanted to clear up, this game is not being worked on anybody right now. Just full stop. This game is not being worked on in any capacity or any way by any studio." He also reported that Sony is seemingly moving away from the project as well, because he said, "I don't think this is news to most of you. Sony is stepping away and scrubbing mentions of the Knights of the Old Republic from social media and YouTube. You can put two and two together there, but just to 100% confirm it, the game is not being worked on right now." A few weeks back, Sony did actually remove the trailers from their channels for the reason the music license had expired, which was very interesting. Now, this could be down to the fact that they don't want to get charged any more money from the mouse overlords Disney. But the signs of the game struggling have been there for a while, because the previous developer on the project, Aspire, had a poorly received internal demo, which was quite a while back, which meant the development moved over to Saber Interactive. But it also appears now that Sony is done with everything with KOTOR related to any form of exclusivity from the original announcement, and it seemingly looks like the remake is dead. But just when you thought KOTOR was down and out, somehow it returned within less than 24 hours, thanks to another industry insider, Jason Schreier. Can't say whether the KOTOR remake will ever actually come out, but yes, two people from Saber Interactive tell me they're still on it, despite recent rumors that nobody is working on the game. Saber took the project from Aspire last year, as Bloomberg reported then. This could obviously be very early in the stages of development of outlining what they're going to do with the game, but obviously this is a good sign if you want the game to be around. The worrying thing though is that quite recently Embracer laid off 900 employees, and the CEO did state during an interview that, "I noticed that anything that I say will become a headline, so this is my only comment," when asked about any of the upcoming developments, especially with KOTOR. What does this mean then? Dead? Alive? I think it's all down to how much you trust these sources, and if Sony seemingly are washing their hands with the KOTOR remake, what is going to be next? Let's brainstorm a few possible solutions. Option 1. Microsoft could do the funniest thing in the world and slide right into those DMs and offer some form of platform exclusivity to help publish the game and have it for a period of time on the Xbox Game Pass, on the Xbox consoles, and also being that it was on the original Xbox in the first place, it would be rather fitting to see it there in some form in the future. And after all, it would be on the superior console. But I'm just joking. Option 2 would be that the game does get put on ice or even shelved. As it seems for many years, it's been a tricky project to get started up on, And the full update to the game means building it from the ground up. It's not just a remaster or an upscale for the newer gen. And I think this is going to be a very, very tall task and a very daunting task for developers, knowing that if they mess up, then it'll be catastrophic for their reputation. So I can see why people are not going to be wanting to go near it. So Saber Interactive have a very, very tough job on their hands. The frustrating thing about all of this, regardless of if it's alive or dead, is we aren't going to see this game for at least another 3 years. And that is putting it lightly. Minimum 2026. And even if it gets off the ground, we're going to be very old. There's going to be a lot of old gamers that are going to be waiting for this. And this could be pushed even further. With complications and challenges during development, it could be a real issue. But all of this is just making me and a lot of Star Wars fans that are interested in this kind of sad and depressed, because we're being flip-flopped all around when it comes to whether or not this game is actually going to be made. So let's have a little bit of fun. Let's put our imagination caps on and talk about, at least from my perspective, what the KOTOR remake could look like. I think there are 3 core elements to the game which are going to really sell it, which are kind of simple. Graphically, the dialogue system in the game, and the combat and the RPG elements. Because if you look back at the original game, it does have more of an MMO style turn-based on-the-fly action combat. I don't really know how to describe it, but graphically, if they can nail something similar to, Mass Effect 3, or to a decent standard of the generations that we have right now, the games within the generation that we have right now, it would be pretty good. But I'm not overly fussed of how well the game actually looks. It's got to play well, and it's also got to live up to what was in the original game. It's going to look completely different to the original if they're doing a complete ground-up remake, but the same plot points will most likely be hit throughout. If we talk about the dialogue system in the game for a brief second, I would like to see something along the lines of Mass Effect or Fallout that's kind of in UI and not just the blocks of text that we had in a game such as Starfield or a lot of other CRPGs. I'd like to have something a little bit more in-game rather than like the just walls of text, because I think it would be a lot better. Maybe if our character is fully voiced this time, that would also be an added element, but it's just something to be fresh about. I'd love to see what your guys' opinions are in the comments section. As for combat and RPG elements though, I think it's got to go through the most overhauls. It's got to update it to feel modern while also still capturing that KOTOR gameplay feel, which sadly I feel is going to be abandoned in favor of more of an action third-person style of system. They may even make it like a cross between like a turn-based combat or a on-the-fly combat that maybe slows down, similar to Mass Effect. And you may be thinking, why do I keep mentioning Mass Effect? Well, I keep mentioning it because I think Mass Effect is one of the best RPGs that BioWare has ever done, and I will fight anyone else that thinks about it, and it's the biggest inspiration that I take when looking at KOTOR in more of like a modern RPG sense. What Mass Effect did is something that I think can translate from KOTOR into the remake. They could actually throw a curveball and kind of keep the original system, but maybe update it with new mechanics for the modern gen systems and modern gameplay. But I don't know how exactly that will go, but it will keep the essence of the original and maybe add a little bit of flavor as well if they can update it, which would be very good. There are just too many unknowns with this game. Outside of who is developing it, whether it's alive or dead, as long as the fans actually get an update of whether or not the game is going ahead and get some good news for the game's development, then I think we are going to go in the right direction. For me, seeing Xbox swoop in and kind of save the day in a sense and help publish the game and add another RPG to the platform, their catalog of RPGs, would be a massive win for them. I don't know why Sony isn't very interested, maybe because the project isn't that interesting to them anymore, or maybe it's going to cost them too much money. I don't really know, but I just want to see this game made at some point because it'd be a real shame to see it fall apart. But let me know what you think in the comment sections about KOTOR. What's your favorite memory from KOTOR? One of mine is the first initial area that you go into and you help fight Bastille, and you also get the Wookiee companion, I can't remember his name, and you do a whole bunch going into the underground with the viruses and such. But let me know down in the comments section what you think of the KOTOR Remake, your favorite moment from the original. Just let me know. I'd love to have a discussion down there. Leave a like on the video because it helps out the algorithm. Subscribe if you're new. Turn on the notification bell as always. And this has been Jimbo, and I'll see you guys next time.